Alright, I wrote the script for this video last year. I just couldn't find the time to do anything with it, but it's Friday the 13th, so what not a better time? Get the snacks and turn off the lights. Enjoy. Jimmy Neutron's scariest episode. You have the class presenting their reports. It's Nick's turn. He starts telling this story about an incident that happened to these 3 kids that took a shortcut through the amusement park after midnight. He claims that the 3 boys were eaten by a being that wears a black robe, a white mask, and has a salami leg, the Phantom of Retroland. Of course, Jimmy, being the smarty pants he is, he calls Nick's story a bunch of baloney, that it logically doesn't make sense, which he's not wrong. Who the fuck has an all night swim meet? After class is over, Jimmy is still complaining about Nick's story, so Nick triple dogs dare him to go to Retroland at midnight. Jimmy accepts, saying that he'll see them in class tomorrow, that he'll bring Carl and Sheen as witnesses. Fast forward tonight, the boys head to the park. They get through the fence and begin to walk around. Jimmy calls out to the supposed Phantom. Nothing. It finally hits midnight. As Jimmy is celebrating, Carl smells something. Salami. Jimmy tries to stand his ground, but Carl and Sheen drag him away. They end up trapping themselves on a ride, but with the help of something pendulum, something x-axis, something earth's rotation, they hit the Phantom. It turns out to be Nick. Everything seems fine, then another Phantom shows up, but it's just Libby and Sydney. As they're leaving the park, another Phantom appears. Jimmy removes the robe to see who it could be, but it's all just flesh. They all run home screaming. This time it was Jimmy's parents. Then again another Phantom shows up, but it's actually the real one. Now this episode is pretty simple and straightforward in what it's trying to deliver. You know, this starts off as your normal Jimmy Neutron episode. It's when we get to Retroland, when things start to get weird and unsettling. When they're walking and talking, there isn't any type of music playing to set the atmosphere. All that can be heard is a cricket, and I don't know, there's something about it that just works. It adds tension. I feel like it makes it immersive somehow, and you start wondering, is the sound of the cricket me or the show? It's like you're in their shoes, and it isn't until when the Phantom shows up that the spooky track begins to play. I think it does a decent job of adding to the mood. I also think the fact that there isn't any form of security patrolling the area makes it even more unsettling. The way the Phantom moves is creepy, and the way the Phantom just appears out of nowhere without making a sound is off-putting. Also, I just noticed this. See this light? It's one of the Phantoms waiting for them. Pretty creepy. So overall, is this episode scary? No, not necessarily. I think it's definitely more creepy and unsettling than it is scary. Sure, the part with the Phantom is short, but it's effective. Oh, I almost forgot. Jimmy complains about things logically not making sense, but yet it makes no sense how he hit the red switch to make the ride move when it clearly says stop. Next episode. Supernatural's scariest episode. You have Sam and Dean investigating a murder of a man who might have been killed by a supernatural entity. The victim's eyes were somehow liquefied. They head over to the funeral to talk to the eldest daughter to get more info and clues. She believes it was just a stroke, but the youngest daughter blames herself since she said Bloody Mary 3 times in the bathroom. The eldest daughter disagrees that wasn't the cause. Dean agrees with her since the father wasn't the one who said it. Well, it turns out it's Bloody Mary. She was murdered in her apartment when she was 19. She died next to a mirror, so her soul got trapped in it, and she kills whoever is in the vicinity when she is called, that's harboring a dark secret revolving around death. With the help of a retired police officer, Sam and Dean are able to find the mirror Mary's spirit haunts. With the guilt Sam is feeling over the loss of his girlfriend Jessica, he decides he's gonna be the one to call upon Mary. After Sam almost loses his life, Dean makes it in time to destroy the mirror. It isn't over though, because Mary comes into the real world. She tries to kill both of them, but Dean is able to muster enough strength to grab one of the mirrors to make her see her own reflection and destroy herself. Alright, there was a handful of episodes people thought was the scariest, but this was the one I kept seeing in every list. Now, I don't really have much thoughts on this episode. We all know the tale of Bloody Mary. Hell, you probably tried to see this actually worked as a dumb kid or teenager. I'm not gonna lie, I don't think the portrayal of Mary in this episode is very scary. When you pause and look at her, she just looks like someone in a play playing the part of a beggar. Now, that's not to say the episode isn't scary. Sure, Mary aesthetically isn't scary. That could have been a choice by the director or not want to follow a stereotype, but that doesn't mean it's not unsettling to see Mary watching her next victim. She is still very much creepy. The angles in which you can see her in the mirror and the way she just stands there menacingly are very effective in giving you the chills, especially during the school scene and when one of the girls reflection in the mirror doesn't move with her. That really creeped me out. I do wish they they played a bit more around with that, and maybe the reflections in which you can notice Mary. Regardless, this episode is for sure creepy, and it has this eerie tone when Mary is around. Yeah, this is an actually scary episode. Next, Adventure Time's scariest episode. You have Finn and Jake who are eating some pizza, listening to Starchy's radio show. One of the banana guardsmen calls in to tell Starchy about this weird girl he saw last Sunday at the laundromat. She had long black hair and big blank eyes. Starchy's theory on this is that these girls are ghosts. The last thing they saw was something so horrific it left them in that state. Jake thinks it's just a bunch of hoo-ha, but deep down he's afraid. On their way home, Finn and Jake are creeped out by every little sound being made. It gets to the point where they're holding hands running home. They get inside, yet they still continue to hear noises. Finn opens the door. It's a blank-eyed girl. They shut the door, but Finn thinks maybe the little girl needs help, so he opens it again. Nothing. Jake sees her near the window this time. Finn gets the idea to call Starchy for help. He tells Finn that maybe the girl has to follow vampire rules. As long as he doesn't invite her in, it should be fine. But that doesn't matter, because she's already inside. They try different methods to make her go away, but none of them work, and even more have appeared. Jake has had enough, so him and Finn head to the library to find some answers. With the help of Turtle Princess, Finn realizes that the girls may be some kind of entity that relies on people believing them actually existing, but even after Finn tries to ignore them, Jake can't. He finds them too creepy. Well, it turns out they were just wearing contacts and it was just some dumb prank. After threatening to call their parents, we also find out they're bald, but it doesn't end there, because in yet another twist, the girls begin to unscrew their head and it's revealed that these are no little girls but some kind of dandelion creature.
What the junk was that?
I think it was beautiful.
Now this episode, I'm just gonna flat out say it. Yes, this episode is scary. No, scratch that. It's actually terrifying and very creepy. For a show like Adventure Time that is goofy, philosophical, and serious at times, I don't know how the fuck they made an episode like this, and it's executed well. It's not just the blank-eyed expressionless girls that make it scary. It's also the vibe, the tone, the background music, or the lack of it at times. Every little sound effect and that vignette that only appears when the girls are in the frame of a scene is a very nice touch. The fact that these little girls are intimidating the hell out of Finn and Jake, who are supposed to be the heroes, is all you need to be concerned for them. Also, the mystery of not knowing what these entities are is very effective in creeping you out. All of that combined is horror magic, even with a little comedic bits throughout the segment of this episode. What the fuck is she doing? Okay. What are they doing to that dough? It still spooks you. I know for me, what brought it back and sealed the deal of this actually being a scary episode was that slow reveal of the true forms of the girls. Especially when the music cuts off and they take off their wig and the eerie music comes on, then they're just these cloudy looking entities. Honestly, there isn't anything else to say. The expression on Finn and Jake's face says it all. On to the next, Buffy's scariest episode. You have Buffy, who during class is asked to demonstrate something with Riley. After they kiss, the lights dim and Buffy hears something. It's someone singing. Buffy follows to where it's coming from. She sees a young girl standing out in the hallway holding a box. The song seems to be some kind of warning. Something about the gentlemen are coming. They need to take 7. That you're gonna die screaming, but you won't be heard. Riley reaches out to Buffy. As she turns around, we see one of the supposed gentlemen, but this was all a dream. Buffy calls Giles for some information and insight on the gentleman. Later that night, as everyone in town is sleeping, we see one of the gentlemen open the box from Buffy's dream. It begins to steal something from everyone in town. In the morning, Buffy goes to say good morning to Willow, but no sound comes out. The voices of everyone in town has been stolen. Buffy heads over to Giles to see if he has found anything on the gentleman. Nothing. Later that night, when the town is sleeping, we again see the gentleman. This time they're surveilling the area to find a poor soul so they can take their heart. After Giles' girlfriend witnessed one of the gentlemen float around the area last night, she sketches what she saw and Giles gets an idea of what they are. So he holds a meeting with everyone to share what he learned. Basically, the gentlemen need to collect 7 hearts, and the only way to kill them is a scream of a real human voice. Later that night, Buffy goes out to patrol, and as she is doing so, she gets ambushed by one of the gentleman's henchmen. As she's whooping on them, one of them runs away and leads Buffy to where the gentleman had been hiding. With the help of Riley, they're able to destroy the box that Buffy saw in her dream. They get their voices back, so Buffy is able to scream and defeat the gentleman. Now, this episode honestly is disappointing. It's not a bad episode. It could could be because I never watched Buffy except a Halloween episode, which that episode is really good. I talked about in that video last year how that episode is actually scary, but I think progressing the relationship between Buffy and Riley this episode hinders a really good concept on these silent monsters that steal your voice and you just have to watch them cut you open as they take your heart, and all you can do is try to scream. Nothing. But the execution of them being scary falls flat. I just didn't feel scared of them or terrified. They didn't instill any fear in me. Of course, their designs are creepy and some of their mannerisms are slightly off-putting. I can say there was 3 scenes where they did a good job of trying to scare you or creep you out. But for the most part, the way they carry themselves is a little funny and goofy. Especially this scene where they're congratulating, I guess, the head gentleman. In my head, he's like, oh my god, bitch, stop. I don't know. If this episode didn't progress any plotlines, had 0 action, and had the gentleman slowly be revealed throughout the episode, you know, don't give us a full look at them until maybe the middle of the episode, I think that could have been something special. Because I really love the idea and concept, it just didn't turn out the way I thought it would have. Also, why is it so goddamn bright at night? Overall, I don't think this episode is scary. I still recommend it if you're interested in it. Last thing, is this show horny like that? Because of what the fuck kind of shit is this? The fuck? Hope you enjoyed. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, share with whoever you think might enjoy my content. Other than that, I'm out.